Good morning. Today is Wednesday, February 8th, and this is Devotions from St. Paul Evangelical Lutheran Church in Carlisle, Pennsylvania. I'm going to continue on an idea of light in this passage from John's Gospel. Jesus says that he is the light of the world. People know this passage, but I'm going to take that and make a contrast with what we had from last week's Gospel and see where we go with that. So this is from the 8th chapter of John's Gospel. Again, Jesus spoke to them, saying, I am the light of the world. Whoever follows me will never walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. Then the Pharisees said to him, You are testifying on your own behalf. Your testimony is not valid. Jesus answered them, Even if I testify on my own behalf, my testimony is valid, because I know where I come from and where I am going. But you do not know where I come from or where I am going. You judge by human standards. I judge no one. Yet even if I do judge, my judgment is valid. For it is not I alone who judge, but I and the Father who sent me. In your law, it is written that the testimony of two witnesses is valid. I testify on my own behalf, and the Father who sent me testifies on my behalf. Then they said to him, Where is your Father? Jesus answered them, You know neither me nor my Father. If you knew me, you would also know my Father. He spoke these words while he was teaching in the treasury of the temple, but no one arrested him because his hour had not come. Jesus says, I am the light of the world. Last week in the message from Matthew's Gospel, we had Jesus saying, You are the light of the world, and told us that we should not hide our light, but let the world see it. So which is it? Is Jesus the light of the world, or are we the light of the world? Well, this past Sunday, in the children's sermon, the pastor had an analogy that helped me make some sense of this. He spoke about the sun and the moon. The sun obviously is the big light in the sky, but the moon has no light of its own. It only looks like it has light because when it is in the right position, it reflects the light of the sun. We are like the moon. We have no light of our own. But when we are in the right position, then we can reflect the light, which is Jesus, who is the true light of the world. I kind of like that analogy that the pastor had. It explains to me a little bit in simple terms about what light I have that I can share with the rest of the world. And I also made another point that was pretty important, I think. Not every light that is reflected looks the same. There are many ways in order to reflect the light of the Son of God. Now later in the passage here in John's Gospel, Jesus was talking to the Pharisees and he says, You know neither me nor the Father, but if you knew me, then you would know the Father as well. And I don't think that Jesus was talking just to the Pharisees. He was talking to us as well. The Father is hidden. None of us have ever seen the Father, but we have seen Jesus. We have read his books. We have listened to him speak. And if we will take the time to develop a relationship with Jesus and to know Jesus, then we will know the Father as well. Jesus says that the Father and he testify the same, that if we know one, we know both. And that, for us, is where we get the light that we can reflect. So it kind of goes in a circle, I think. Jesus is the light of the world. And those who know that light will never walk in darkness. We are the light of the world if we position ourselves so that we can reflect the light that is Jesus. Again, relationship with Jesus is the way this all works. We read His Word, we pray to Him, we speak to each other about it in order to increase our knowledge, our insight, and yes, at some level, our faith. And then we can reflect the light that Jesus shines on us. It's important to understand where the true light is, so that it can be given all the grief, all the glory, all the profit, all the praise that it can ever get. And that light is Jesus. So think about your own life. Think about how you understand the light that is Jesus, and think about how you can be the reflection of that light in this world. It will be your own way, and Jesus will lead you to know what that way is if you have a relationship with Him. Thank you.